I want to share why I'm honored and excited to be a part of this. And, although I am not a product of the foster care system, I am a product of child abuse. And I was pretty messed up. Up until the age of 12, I was in a very abusive home. And I wasn't allowed to have a voice. I wasn't allowed to have an opinion. And if I tried to express that, I was quickly corrected, heavily corrected. And my method throughout my entire life of coping with this was anytime someone doubted me or any time I wanted to be really, really good at whatever I did. So my method of coping with a lack of freedom, a lack of voice, a lack of identity was I was going to be good at whatever I was going to do, period. And that behavior served me. I have built successful companies, made some good money, I've shared the stage with some amazing individuals, but I found something else out. I was doing all of these things to find significance. And true significance for me, and I can't speak for anyone else, I can only speak for me, true significance for me is seeing the helping other people. And seeing other people that you're able to help in any way that you can to where maybe they don't have to struggle like you did. And that's what really gave me kind of a renewed, I guess, career, a way of thinking, is the more that I'm able to do for others, the better I feel about myself. Literally, the more significant I feel that I'm actually making a difference. And so I was so honored when I was asked to MC this. And my wife and I, we wanted to do a little bit of research because I honestly didn't have much experience with foster care. And so a couple weeks ago, and I will step back one second. What was interesting and what got me wanting to be a part and do something for foster care actually wasn't Dr. Sterling. We were up in Utah, and I was talking to a group up there that they help with women who've been through physical and sexual abuse. And great organization. And they mentioned how they wanted to also do something about foster care. And there was one thing they said that just spoke to me, and it kind of reminded me of how I felt as a kid, and that was that when a lot of times kids in foster care, when they have to move to a different home, they're given trash bags to put their stuff in, like they don't already, feel worthless, right? And that really spoke to me. And when we came home to Florida, it hit me. I'm like, you know what? Dr. Sterling works really in this stuff. I got to do something with her. I got to figure out how can we do something and make a difference. And so a couple weeks ago, we were touring. We toured a group home and a foster home. For those that don't know, a group home is like a facility where people, they'll have kids in there, ranging in ages, ranging in reasons for being there, et cetera. And we visited a foster home where there's a parental figure or multiple parents, and it was really helpful to see that. And I don't pretend to know everything about foster care. I don't. But one thing that was interesting is when we were in that group home, we asked the kids, hey, what would you like? What would make your life better? What would be awesome? What would make your experience here better? No one can answer that. Now, my 5-year-old daughter, she comes downstairs in the morning and says, waffle, movie, thirsty. She knows what she wants every minute of every day. And she lets me know. Sometimes not so kindly. We gave these children, we gave them hey, what is it that you would want? I mean, they could have said Xboxes, they could have said anything. they couldn't come up with anything. We had to ask that question multiple times before one girl spoke up and said, well, it'd be cool to have different board games. You see, when you're not being fulfilled at different levels in your life, you're not thinking about what you want. You're thinking about what you need, right? You need love. You need caring. You need someone to listen to you, someone to acknowledge you. Right? That's very different than wanting the latest, greatest toy or whatever. And the other thing that I got from that experience is that these kids really need hope. You know, there was one kid in there, and it just tore me up, man. You know, this kid, Justin, and I don't know his age, 12, something like that. And his parents had been involved in some, bad stuff, and he had been, taken out and put in the home. And looks like a bright kid, smart kid, seems like a great kid. And they hadn't even bothered to come see him. He'd been there since June. They could have come seen him. I believe they could have taken him home. Hadn't even talked to him, hadn't went there. And, and that's the kind of stuff that some of these kids have to deal with. They're treated as a nuisance, not as something to be loved and cared about and be grateful for. And so, to me, it was like, how can we instill more hope in these kids? And Dr. Sterling did an amazing job of talking to them about, hey, you're not victims, right? You can choose to be whatever you want to be. And she really spoke amazing life into them. And, you saw, several of them, you can tell had been through some stuff. And, that, pep talk probably wasn't enough at the moment, right? But some of them you could see have a little glitter of hope. And I just think that if you're able, to instill that, then that's a really cool thing to do. And so that's why I'm excited to be here. Thank you. So I'm excited to bring up our first speaker, and I'm excited to hear all the speakers, but I want to bring up Nadare. Nadare is the CEO of Children's Network, which is the lead agency for DCF. Nadare and her team provide case management for families who are in the system. Children's Network creates a case plan to line up services that the parents will need in order to get their children back. The Sterling Center is one of those service providers. Dr. Sterling is so honored to have Children's Network tonight and Nadare to share some thoughts with you. Please help me welcome Nadare.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. First, I want to thank you for your courage, the courage to speak about your life journey in front of so many people. The one thing about child abuse, it's a secret. Kids keep that a secret. It's a shame thing. It's not a pride thing. So thank you for choking me up right before I have to say a few words. I really appreciate that. First, I want to thank Dr. Sterling. Jamie, you are amazing. Thank you for putting this event on in April in honor of National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Thank you for that. You are truly shining a light on something that happens in the dark. It happens secretly, and people carry it around like a bad disease all their life until they open up to people like Jamie and really just pour all that poison out and heal from inside. Next, I want to thank all of you because you decided to be here where you could have been anywhere else on a Saturday night, right? You chose to be here because you want to be a part of this movement, right? This is a movement to end something ugly and hurtful that damages our future. It damages our children. So thank you to you. So we are responsible for 5 counties in Southwest Florida, and every year there are about 15,000 child abuse reports that are accepted. Much more are called in but don't meet the threshold. 15,000. That's 300 abuse reports per week. That's a lot of kids getting hurt. So imagine if we could have a community, we could have families that could keep their kids safe with them, not from them. We're not here to keep children safe from their parents, but we're here to keep children safe with their parents. That's true prevention. So we are part of a community-based care agency. That means we rely on the community. We rely on you and you and you to help us, because this is not a job anyone can do alone. I don't care how mighty you are. This is not a Lone Ranger type of thing. This is teamwork. This is communities coming together, families, people that care. And looking at this room, I have hope now. Really, there is hope. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. So I just want to say that, unfortunately, not all child abuse cases can be prevented. Not all kids can be saved. And unfortunately, every month there are about 100 kids that get taken away from their families because the abuse is too egregious. We can't take a chance. We can't keep those kids home. But that's where Dr. Jamie Sterling comes into play, because we refer those families to her with the hope that she can help them overcome all the ills that brings them to our table. And you know what those are. It's substance abuse, it's alcohol, illicit drugs, it's domestic violence, it's unresolved mental health issues, it's their own childhood trauma. You know, I've been doing this thing for, I should lie and tell you less, but 35 years. Don't judge, I'm not that old. For 35 years, I have worked with these families, and yet I have come to find one parent that gets up in the morning and says, today I'm going to abuse my child. It doesn't happen like that. It's their own unresolved trauma. They themselves have been subjects of abuse report. They themselves have suffered trauma. And without the help, without a Dr. Sterling, that cycle repeats itself. So I don't want to depress you too much. So I'm going to stop here and say thank you. Thank you for coming out to show your support. I am honored to be here tonight because courage is just rare and incredible, and I honor you. Thank you, everyone.
You may not know some of the details of the Sterling Center, so I just want to share a couple things with you. You know, the agency started with Dr. Sterling as the only clinician. Today there are over 40 clinicians and several full-time office staff members, many of who are here helping us, I believe. Yes, there they are, yes. And, here's a side note. I've known Dr. Sterling, Jamie, for a pretty long time, and that her brother, who's in the back, where is he? Him and I best friends in high school, and so it's just really cool to see how she's grown and how many people she's impacting. And so honored to be a part of this. Please help me welcome Dr. Sterling.
Wow, 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 wow. Honored is an understatement. Every single person in this room is here to support something that is so dear to me. And you know what? You could be doing anything with your time, and you're choosing to spend it here. So grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you. So I feel like the video and Nada Ray and Ray we've given you a sort of a glimpse of what the child welfare system looks like. I'm gonna do a presentation, but before I do that, first I wanna thank Children's Network for giving me a chance. I came into your office like a windstorm full of fire and passion, and you're probably like, she's crazy, get her out of here. And then I just kept checking in, and I just wanted to be a part of you so badly, to be a part of the amazing things that you're doing. And Jan and Nadare, you gave me a chance. And I promised myself that if you would give me the chance, you would never regret it. So thank you for being here. Had you not given me the chance, none of us would be here. Thank you. Before I go into my presentation, I have to acknowledge some amazing people, because guess what? Without them, this event wouldn't have happened. I dreamed of this day. I could see it in my mind. I actually still can't believe that it's happening. As you know, I work on the front lines of families that are suffering. I actually hate when people ask me if we're busy. In other jobs, it's really good to be busy. But in mine, it means that more people are suffering. But you know what? It's a great thing that we are here. There's no other agency like this one. There's no other person that loves these families like I do. There's no other person that loves my team or loves their team more than I do. We do the work, the real work. We go toward situations that most providers run from. Oh, here comes the truth. I got to tell you guys something. So I absolutely hate the idea of fundraising. And you guys, why are we here? It's a fundraiser. Well, I have to be honest with you. I'm a giver. I only know how to give. Taking and asking for something is so hard and foreign for me. So it has been a work in progress for me to get my mindset to a place to be able to do this. I had somebody very wise help me with my mindset. I'm not going to look over here. You know, it might or might not be Ray Higdon. And you know what? I'm a giver, right? And I said, but I hate fundraising. I don't want to ask anybody for anything. He said, but you're giving them the opportunity to be part of something really special. And I'm like, oh my God, that is giving. I like giving. I'm a giver. So all of a sudden, I started to be a little better with it. Here's the big question, everybody, and I want you to listen and listen really good. I was asked this question, which was a bit life-changing for me. Who loses if you don't win? Oh, now don't do that to me, man. You're going to get me crazy. Who loses if you don't win? I'm like, well, now you've sparked my attention. I'm super competitive. I'm all about getting the job done. So you want to talk about winning like I'm all in, right? So the question, who loses if I don't win? The children and family lose if I don't win. My team loses if I don't win. Our entire community loses if I don't win. So, I can't do it alone. Here I am, swallowing my pride, shifting my mindset, humbly asking for you to join my mission. Not easy for me, but I can tell you this. If those kids lose, if I don't win, we're going to win. I can tell you we're going to win. I'm asking you to, I don't care about money. Money's money, blah, blah, blah. If you have it, share it. If you don't, that's okay. You can volunteer your time. You can volunteer your time. You can honor, see something, say something. What do I mean by that? Well, our culture is taught to mind their own business, aren't we? Mind your own business, don't look. I'm asking you not to mind your own business. I'm asking you that if you see a family suffering or a child that seems a little off, that you ask if they're okay. Just stop. Get off your phone, look up, and ask if they're okay. Ask if you can help. That doesn't cost you anything. It's our responsibility, not just mine. So I'm going to paint you a picture of what a day looks like for me in the work that I do. So everybody saddle up and get ready. Okay, you guys ready? You sure you're going to be ready? It's not easy stuff to hear, man. It's not easy. But guess what? You're not going to leave here the same person as when you walked in. Because if you do, I didn't do my job. So I'm going to wake you up. You're going to have an awareness. And you're going to learn. All of you follow along with me. You're a 5-year-old, okay? Good, everybody good? 5-year-old? All of you are a 5-year-old, okay? You know, you were taught in school to call 911 if somebody needs help. They teach you that. Your mom and dad fight a lot. They yell so much, you're just kind of used to it. Only this time, when your dad slammed the door, the mirror fell, and your mom was cut, and she was bleeding, crying out for help. You remember what you were taught, call 911. So you do. Well, the cops come, they take your dad to jail. Your mom was taken off by ambulance. A stranger comes and picks you up, and they take you and your baby sister to an office. You hear the man calling to ask people if you can sleep there, even just for a night. Finally, somebody says yes, but they cannot take both kids. You and your baby sister are going to be separated. So you get to the stranger's house, you're feeling scared, you don't know where the bathroom is. You can't remember the lady's name that's supposed to be taking care of you. You accidentally soil your pants because you didn't want to ask for help in a stranger's house. The man didn't bring you any of your clothes. There's nothing to change into, so, I guess it'll dry eventually, right? You lay in bed in a strange place. You're wondering, is my mom alive? Does my dad get blankets in jail? Because one of my friends at school told me once that if you go to jail, you don't get blankets or pillows. You have to sleep on the cold floor. I wonder if my dad has a blanket tonight. Oh, but then my baby sister. Does anybody know she needs a sippy cup? I bet they didn't tell them that. She has to have her sippy cup to sleep. You start to feel angry. You're so angry and mad because this is all your fault. If you had just listened better that day, your parents wouldn't have been fighting. Maybe if you helped with the baby more, mom and dad wouldn't have been so stressed out. You think, oh, I should not have called 911. I should not have. If I just got a Band-Aid, we could have maybe stopped the bleeding. and we'd all be together right now. This wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't be separated. When morning comes, you've only slept a few hours, minutes here or there. You were too upset to eat, and your little tiny 40-pound body, if that, starts to shut down from the trauma. You have a meltdown. You can't stop crying. You're punching the ground because you're so mad at yourself. This is all your fault. You're a terrible big brother. You can't even protect your baby sister right now. The lady that's supposed to take care of you calls that strange man to come back. She can't handle you. You go back to his office and hear him try to find you another place to sleep. You still don't know if your mom is alive or if your dad has pillows and blankets. That is one of the lighter stories I could tell you. I'm sparing you a whole lot. Okay? How many of you think that those parents should have had some conflict resolution, family counseling before it got to this point? Right? How many of you think that the minute the child was taken into custody of the state, within hours should have had a therapeutic intervention to remind him it's not his fault? He shouldn't lay there for several days, not sure if it's his fault. It should have been within hours he got help. How many of you think there should be a place where both kids stay together, no matter what? They come to a therapeutic place, couple of days, they get immediate counseling. They learn about what foster parents are and how those amazing people are going to help them, right? Foster parents help take care of you while your mom and dad get better. Now, when they go to that foster home, they're not so scared, right? All it takes is a little bit of thought beforehand so that we get them services, we explain to them what's going to happen over the next few weeks, and guess what's even better? Their clinician, counselor, they go, guess what? I know Miss Jamie's going to be here in a couple of days, and she gave me a stuffed animal to sleep with, right? So they know there's one consistent thing, I'm coming back, right? These are the things that need to change, and they will. I promise you they will. All right, guys. The original question was, who loses if I don't win? That's right. I'm gonna shift that. I'm gonna say to you this. Who loses if we don't win? Why is it just my responsibility? It's not. It is not. This is your community. These are your kids. Who loses if we don't win? I ask you to consider mentoring a family in crisis. Lots of times it's as simple as the mother can't budget her money for food. How many of you could go help a mother learn how to budget her money for food? How many of you could say, I'll take Johnny to soccer on Wednesdays? Because you need to work that overtime to pay your electric, right? We all have that little extra time, and we can all do more. Do you know that kids in foster care miss out on some things that are pretty normal to my kids every year? You know that on your birthday, there's going to be cupcakes delivered to that school like clockwork, man. You don't even know how it happened, but it's there, right? Magically, mom, bam, cupcakes, share with your friends. You're the star that day. A lot of kids in foster care don't get that. How many of you would be willing to just take cupcakes to a school so that that kid didn't have to feel different? Well, they acknowledge that it's his birthday, but there was no cupcakes brought, right? We have birthday boxes. They're $40. $40. That's a few Starbucks trips, man. And those birthday boxes that Terry put together and designed go to children in foster care that if nobody else felt that they were special on that day, that we did. We didn't forget you. We're never going to forget you. For $40, you can bring joy to a child on their birthday that nobody else may care about. I humbly ask all of you to stand with me, stand with Sterling, and together we can make a difference. I cannot do it alone. Thank you.
So powerful. And I kind of debated sharing this part, but right now I encourage Dr. Sterling to live stream this event. My wife and I, we do a lot of social media, and so we have some people on social media that wanted to be a part of it that aren't in this area, and so we do have some on, but unfortunately I just got a message that said this video has been blocked. And one thing that I've noticed as a social media marketer is a lot of times when we talk about abuse, a lot of people don't see it. Take that for whatever you want. And so we have a battle, right? We have a battle to get this word out, to tell people what's going on, to inform them of what's going on. And so I just love the mission. I mean, if you didn't know already, I'm all in. My wife and I, we've been blessed to do a lot of different, charitable things. And last year or year before, no, I think 2 years ago. Yeah, 2020, no. But let's not talk about that. But in 2019, we funded a bus to go up, and it was so cool. And it was just such a, and I'll tell you a side note to that is they surprised us and came to our house and showed up in the little bus, and we're like, oh, wow, this is really cool. And two of the kids came in and wanted to use the bathroom, and the one girl came in and she's looking, and we have an okay house, pretty nice, and she said, "Is this one house?" And it just hits you that we experience things that a lot of these kids don't get to experience. And, we're very, very blessed. If you're in this room today, you're very, very blessed compared to a lot of other people out there. One of the things that we donated is we donated our book. It's called Time, Money, Freedom. It's with Hay House Publishing. And it's kind of a markety type title, but I'll tell you the three things that it really teaches. One, that you can create a great life despite a bad past. Two, that you can inspire people by sharing your past, right? Nadare kind of gave me some kudos, and I appreciate that. And number three, with more money, you can do more good. There's a concept that we teach in there called Wealth Wednesday, where we have every week about 1,200-ish people do a random act of kindness for a stranger. And this could be paying for the person behind you in the toll booth, paying for the person behind you in the drive-thru. Sometimes they're sneaking money in the diaper box at the grocery store, whatever they can do, right? We have a community that participates. And you sharing what you're doing is not a bad thing. Sometimes people tell you to donate in silence, and if you're going to do a good deed, keep that to yourself. Well, if you're doing it just to show off, that's one thing. If you're doing it and sharing what you're doing because it's meaningful to you, that could inspire someone else. So I would encourage you to, tell people if you're, doing something to help this cause and this mission, share it with people because, Dr. Sterling, almost called her Jamie, Dr. Sterling, what Dr. Sterling is sharing with you is, yes, the opportunity to give, but not all of us have time. Not all of us have the time to mentor. Not all of us have the time to foster a child, right? So maybe you can give to help an institution, to help a company that does a really, really good job with that.